The house divided. Proverbs 27 verse 17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. There once was a family that lived in a brown house. There was a grandfather, grandmother, father, mother, brother, and sister all living in that house. From the outside, they were a good-looking family, but on the inside, it was nothing but strife. One sunny day, the grandfather said, "Dear, it's a bright sunny day. Could you whip up some lunch so we can enjoy the sunshine?" The grandmother replied, "Why don't you do it yourself, dear? I'm not your slave. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I have to cook for you all day." One autumn morning, there were leaves all over the yard. The grandmother was not pleased, so she said, "Oh dear, why don't you take care of the leaves?" The grandfather responded, "I'm not your slave. I'm a man, and it doesn't mean I have to rake leaves all day. Why don't you rake the leaves yourself?" One winter night, the father said, "Hey honey, do you mind cleaning the kitchen while I clean the yard?" The wife said, "No, I will not. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I have to clean all day. Do it yourself, I do it all the time when you're away." One rainy day, the water leaked into the house. The wife screamed, "Honey, get your tool belt, there's a leak in the house." The husband yelled back, "Just because I'm a man doesn't mean I have to fix things all day. Do it yourself. I do it all day at work while you stay at home all day." One summer day, the brother said, "Hey sis, can you do the laundry and I'll clean the gutters?" The sister responded, "Heck no. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I have to do the laundry. You do it." One fall day, the sister broke a window and needed help replacing it. She said, "Hey bro, could you help me replace this window?" The brother said, "No. Just because I'm a boy doesn't mean I have to lift and help you fix anything. Do it yourself." One day, the grandfather said, "Honey, I'll cook the dinner and clean the kitchen, but what if you take the trash out today?" The grandmother replied, "Who do you think I am? That's a man's job. Why don't you take out the trash?" The next day, the grandmother said, "Honey, why don't you plant the roses and I'll mow the yard?" The grandfather responded, "Gardening? Are you crazy? I'm the man, I don't do gardening. Do it yourself, I'm not your gardener." One day, the husband said, "Darling, can you fix this leaky pipe while I do the laundry?" The wife replied, "Are you delusional? How could you ask me that? Don't you know fixing pipes is a man's job? Why don't you do it? You're the man." The next day, the wife said, "Honey, can you feed the kids lunch?" He replied, "Cook. I'm the man, should never step foot in a kitchen. You do it, it's your job." One day, the brother said, "Sis, I hurt my wrist. Can you power wash the house?" The sister replied, "No way. I'm a girl and that's a boy's job. You do it, you're a boy. Tough it out." The next day, the sister said, "Oh bro, I have a migraine. Could you sweep the porch for me?" The brother said, "That's the job of a girl. You got this, sis. Tough it out, you'll be okay." Seconds turned into minutes, minutes into hours, hours into days, days into months, and months into years. Life went on like this until one day, the housing authorities knocked on the door. When they opened it, the housing authority gave them a summons. They passed it around, reading it one by one, each of them growing more furious as they read. At last, they were all done, and the housing authority said, "You must fix these violations or you'll have to leave." They all looked shocked, as if hit by a rock, and then divided into two groups, pointing at the other. The grandfather, father, and brother all yelled, "It's her fault because she never does anything. She thinks just because she's a woman." On the other side, the grandmother, mother, and sister pointed fingers, yelling, "It's his fault because he thinks he's a man and can control me." They began to bicker back and forth until the housing authority said, "This is a family matter. Please clean up the house or face eviction." Instead of cleaning up, they all stayed in the living room, in silence. Eventually, it turned into. The grandfather said, "I'll only take care of my half of the yard." The grandmother said, I'll only cook dinner for myself. The wife said, I'll only clean up my mess in the kitchen. The father said, I'll only fix my leaky roof. The brother said, I'll only power wash half the house. The sister said, I'll only do half the laundry. They bickered like that for days, and the mess kept piling up. The arguing kept going. We do more work because we're men. We do more work because we're women. Days went by until the housing authorities showed up again, this time with a bigger summons. Again, the two groups pointed fingers at one another. The housing authority warned them for the last time, get this place clean and stop all the bickering now. They all did nothing but stared at each other, yelling, it's your fault we're here now. It's all your fault. They all went to separate spaces, the men in one room and the women in another. The grandfather said, I'm not doing another thing around this house until I get some respect. The grandmother said, I'm not doing anything until he admits I've done everything around here. The father said, I'm not doing anything until she learns her place. The mother said, I'm not doing anything until he gets off his lazy butt and helps me. The brother said, I'm not doing anything until she stops treating me like I'm her errand boy. The sister said, I'm not doing anything until he stops treating me like his personal assistant. And so the house sat, getting filthier and dirtier day by day. No one budged because everyone thought they were treated unfairly and deserved recognition. Then one day, the housing authority came and said, this is it. I'm calling the cops. You haven't budged to clean this mess and your house is a mess. The family screamed, no. Please, we can fix it. The housing authority said, oh no, I'm calling them, and walked to his car. The family began to hustle and bustle. The grandmother cooked lunch, the grandfather took care of the leaves, the father fixed the leak, the mother cleaned the kitchen, the brother fixed the windows, and the sister did the laundry. The grandfather cooked and prepped dinner and cleaned the kitchen as promised, and the grandmother took out the trash. The father fixed the kids' lunch while the mother fixed the leaky pipe. The brother swept the porch while the sister power cleaned the house. That day, they hustled and bustled, working together to fix and clean the house in unison. When everything was done, they ran outside to the housing authority and said, look, everything is in order now. He smiled and said, I know. Look at the yard and the progress you guys have made. They looked at their house, all amazed, and said, when did we paint the house bright red? The housing authority replied, you didn't, but do you see where teamwork will get you if you set aside your differences and work together? Ashamed of themselves, the family apologized to one another and promised they would always work together, no matter what.